True. All right, well, look, the next one, if we do it on Saturday, we'll do it. Oh, man, I wish. Did you see the lottery numbers this week?
No, I don't do the lottery.
I know, but did you hear about them?
What, like 27, 26 or 28?
No, 20, yeah. Well, it was basically 21, 22, 23. And I was like, son of a goat herder.
Yeah, but all it takes is someone's birthdays to be that.
But I was like, that's just horrible. But anyway, right, that's all set out. What else do we need? I need a timer. And back to my baby. Okay, we are now ready to record. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Welcome to the latest episode of the world's finest podcast, Someday. This is the latest edition of The Boys from Bossk. I'm joined by my all-time great heavyweight host, master of the conversational movie and entertainment talk, Big Dave. How you doing?
I'm great, but I won't say I'm master of the talk.
I beg to differ.
Depends how drunk I get, then I become master of the talk.
No, you're all right. People like your dulcet tones. Obviously, my dulcet tones are superb, but they like your dulcet tones. Welcome to the latest show. We haven't done a show for a couple of weeks. It's been a busy couple of weeks, but we're here now to take care of you guys. If there's any shows you want us to watch, please do let us know in the comments or emails. If there's any challenges,
It's been a week
of entertainment you want me and Dave to take up, just let us know. All your favorite shows. I haven't done drag racing. Somebody requested drag. What's the drag race one? RuPaul's Drag Race.
You got to watch that. I remember watching that when it first came out. It's hilarious.
I will pick that up at some point. I just haven't. I've never. It just doesn't seem to cross my range. But this week I've made great efforts to try and. I even watched Eurovision last night. I forgot to mention. I sat down and I didn't watch the whole thing. But I watched the last 15 minutes or half an hour, like when they were doing the scores. Huh?
Wasn't it a big fix?
Well, it's Eurovision. I don't know if it can be considered a fix.
No, but didn't England win like all the country's votes? But then it went down to the public vote, and Ukraine won it by sympathy.
Yeah, but look, do you know what, Dave? For the past 10 years, the UK
has got nil point. So we should have won it.
Well, not 10 years. They've got nil point. I think coming second was just good enough. Do you know what I mean? Clearly, I don't know why. Maybe it's because, like, the Europeans, ever since they mentioned that we're going to sell to BBC, maybe people just went, look, we love you guys, right? Because the BBC actually funds, I think, the vast majority of the Eurovision Song Contest.
Well, Australia owned it now.
No, I think the Aussies just took part in it, didn't they?
No, I think they took part in it the last couple of years because they brought it.
Did they? That's the first.
Yeah, I think that's why they were in it, because they own it.
Oh, all right. Fun. Let me look that up because
Thorin would tell you he has parties every year.
I need to start doing that. I just think the Eurovision, a lot of people are really cynical, and I know a lot of Brits get really desperate because the UK doesn't get any always gets nil point. But it's so bad. Last night they kept putting up warnings. If you're in the UK, you cannot vote for the UK. Do not phone in and try and vote for the UK. Otherwise, you will be charged for the call, and the UK won't get any points. Please don't vote for the UK. People are so desperate to do it. I know, but at the end of the day, it's just.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, right. So Eurovision, it's non-profit. What is it? Non-profit, produce. Yeah, broadcasters.
Channel 7 or something in Australia. Probably.
Yeah, it's lots of different broadcasters. So I think the UK funds part of it, and then other broadcasters do. But the Aussies might have stumped it up. I mean, I know the Aussies love Eurovision. The world loves Eurovision. And I think from next year, you're going to get an American version of it. So 51 states competing to be the
That's because America's Got Talent, though, isn't it?
The Song of America. No. It'll be a direct copy of Eurovision, I believe. So each state will have its national song. Yes, you do, Dave, because you used to have Eurovision parties, didn't you, at your house?
No, don't go there.
Maybe that was another Dave, but
Definitely weren't me.
but yeah, Eurovision is big, and it's gotten bigger over the years. I still love that film, that Netflix one with Will Ferrell, which nobody else liked.
That was terrible.
I absolutely love it. I don't know.
It was
why.
funny, but it was terrible.
I know, but I love it because it was terrible. I thought it was hilariously bad.
It's just like a crap ABBA, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was so. I don't know. I just thought it was really funny, especially the whole. What was it? Volcano? Was it Volcano Man? No.
God, no. I can't remember.
Okay.
Watched it once, one and done, as they say.
Let me see if I can get Will Ferrell up.
It doesn't matter, Curtis.
The story of the Fire Saga. Look, I'm just saying that people shouldn't knock it. I thought it was really, really good.
You thought it was really good that you watched the last 15 minutes?
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's how good it
No,
was.
not Will Ferrell's film. I watched the whole thing, but the Eurovision. I was busy getting this show together. What is this? But anyway.
You've wasted 15 minutes talking about it.
No,
you only watched 15 minutes.
5 minutes, Dave. 5 minutes to the show. We've spoken about it for.
Sorry, Mum.
That was Eurovision last night, and the Ukraine came in first, and the UK came in second after getting the most points they've had for about 5 years or so, whatever, and became second place. I still don't know what the UK song was, but the Ukraine one was pretty funny. And credit to them for taking it. Now, the Ukraine Prime Minister's already said that they're going to hold the next Eurovision in Ukraine. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll be interested to see where it goes.
And if it's there.
No, I'm not making jokes. You know what? I'm going to run away.
It's the truth, though, isn't it? It's only if it's there. You know, I'm going
to run away from the story because I'm like, right.
You can save that for your other show.
Huh?
You can save that for your other show.
Yeah, we'll do what I was saying. October is rumored to be the release date for The Witcher Blood Origins, which is a prequel to the Witcher series. And has Michelle Yeoh in it, who's also in another film I'm going to watch this week, Everything All at Once, which is rumored to be really good. But yeah, you're getting a Witcher prequel with Michelle Yeoh, who's always fantastic in whatever she's in. And Witcher's still doing pretty good big business at the moment. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that in October. Are you a Witcher's fan? You enjoyed
I'm a Witcher. I enjoyed The Witcher, yeah. I really liked it.
Did you ever play the game, sir?
I played one of them.
Which one did you play?
The second one, I think it was.
Oh, right, that was.
It was on Games for Gold, I think it was.
I struggled with that one. But yeah, no, they're good games, but they're intense. Right, Dave, one of your favorite shows from back in the day, Married with Children, is making an animated comeback in the realm of adult animation with the original cast as well.
Isn't the daughter dead in real life?
No, I don't believe so.
I thought she'd become a crackhead and died.
No, I think you're confusing her for Lindsay Lohan.
No, honestly.
No, it's, they said the original cast. So I can only
Al Bundy, wasn't it? Is it Al Bundy?
Yeah.
I used to love that show. Well, I thought she got rich and famous to become a crackhead.
You're thinking Christina.
I think of the one from Different Strokes.
Yeah, Christina Applegate is alive and well.
No, it's the girl from Different Strokes that become a crackhead.
Yeah. But yeah, Christina Applegate is fine, ladies and gents. Apologies for starting that rumor.
I apologize.
Please don't.
I don't want to start no rumors.
Please don't sue us, please.
My bad. Didn't use Google.
Just hear it across the internet. What? Yeah. Christina's what? But yeah, it didn't happen. Apologies. But yeah.
And what was the son's name? I can't remember his name. He was quite funny.
Which one's that?
Al Bundy's son. He had a son and daughter and a crazy wife.
It was Bud Bundy.
Yeah, he's funny. I used to love that show.
Well, it's all coming back. Like I said, it's all coming back in animated form. It'll be interesting to see how that.
I hope it has the same title.
I
like the music. Love and marriage, horse and carriage.
I reckon they'll just do the whole lot, and it'll be like that'll be it. But yeah, it's all coming back, and it'll be interesting to see who picks it up. But yes, the old Bundys are back on your screen soon. But yeah, I knew you'd like that one, Dave. I knew
Yeah,
you'd like that one.
I used to love that show.
Right, so moving on from that, Spider-Man. In the world of comics, Spider-Man is about to hit Spider-Man made his first appearance in, I think it was 1963, in the issue of Amazing Fantasy. To mark that, Marvel's publishing Amazing Fantasy 1000 at Marvel in August, and it will be headlined by Neil Gaiman. So that's going to be pretty exciting for all you comic book nerds out there, including myself. It'll be, I think it's the third major comic book to reach 1,000 issues. I think Batman did it first a couple of years ago. Superman then did it. So this is Spider-Man's chance to hit the 1,000 issue mark. So that'll be out in August. And obviously with Neil Gaiman writing, it's sure to be well worth the, I don't know, probably £10 Marvel will be charging for entry on that one. Now, talking of another show that Big Dave likes, Big Sky. Guess who's joining
I like
the
it 'cause it's never on.
Well, you did when it was on.
Yeah, but it hasn't been on for months.
You had a passionate love of it.
Disappeared.
Yeah, but when it was on, you had a passionate love of it, right?
But why are they not showing it?
Well, it's coming back, and guess who's going to be in the cast?
Yeah, but season? Why has it not continued? It stopped on episode 8 and hasn't been back.
Dave, I'm giving you the news.
I want to watch Big Sky. I don't care about the news of Big Sky. I want to watch it.
Well, it's coming back, but guess who it's bringing with it?
Some drip.
Jensen Ackles.
And he is.
Oh my God. Dave, did you not watch I thought you loved that sort of horror, that horror show, Supernatural.
No, never.
Oh, you never
fan of it. Never watched an episode of it.
Well, Jensen Ackles is going to be in the second season finale and the season regular for season 3 of Big Sky. He's also going to be in The Boys season 3 as Soldier Boy. And he's
Soldier Boy, tell him. No, not that Soldier Boy.
No, not that Soldier Boy.
Okay.
And it's more like a Captain America pastiche, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, that's all going to be happening soon, ladies and gentlemen. So look out for that. If you're a Jensen Ackles fan and used to love your Supernatural, he's going to be in Big Sky, which is available now on Disney Plus. Right. So in other
it's not
news,
available now, is it? Because it's never on.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm not in charge over there at Disney Plus. If I was, I'd bring it.
It's completely disappeared off the face. I know.
It's Disney Plus. Can you sort your shit? You're making Dave unhappy. And I don't.
Here's my only regular TV show.
Can you please disappeared. Get your gigs together because it's not fair. These mid-season breaks are not fair.
Yeah, but it wasn't a mid-season break. It's been like since what, November? It's been a long time.
In other news, the Time Traveler's Wife is coming to TV show. Did you ever see the film The Time Traveler's Wife?
Yeah, I really liked it.
They're doing a TV show of that, and that's coming.
It's done by Doctor Who's person, isn't it? Someone done Doctor Who and something else.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's very British based.
I need to read these articles.
And, you should read your stories. You should do your homework. You know. I think it was Doctor Who.
Yeah. Now, I've read the book, and the book her name's hard to pronounce without saying it wrong, but bear with me. So it's based on the successful book and movie that was written by Audrey Niffenegers. A story of a time traveler who's unable to control his jumps, love, and all the rest of it. It plays a big part of it. In the series show, it's being cast with Theo James and Rose Lee, but I think there's also a few other well-known. Rose Lee, who you might remember from Game of Thrones, who's the one who said the famous line, "You know nothing, Jon Snow." Do you remember her?
She was the wildling.
Yeah, and she's going to be in this. It looks like it's HBO Max. So it'll probably be on Sky in the UK. And like Dave said, Steve Moffat, who's famously known for his work on Doctor Who as the show's writer and executive producer.
Sherlock he'd done as well.
Yeah. So it's looking like it's going to have a decent cast. It's looking like it's going to be a decent story. But get ready, keep your tissues out, ladies and gents, because it's got a few gut punches.
But this is based the other way around, isn't it?
What's that?
I think she's the time traveler.
No, it's still him.
So there's still a pedo.
No, it's not. Not in the. Not no. He wasn't in the book.
When the film, he was a pedo, wasn't he? He
No,
watched her grow up and then married her.
Well, no. You see, this is a mistake a lot of people make, right? But no, I hear what you're saying. But remember,
Wasn't he a friend of the father? And then he
I
kept
don't
on
want to give
traveling,
spoilers away.
coming back.
No. When he meets her, is
she was a child.
The last time, no. That's when she first meets him. I don't want to spoil it. We'll talk about it after the show. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil it for people. But he doesn't meet her as a child until he's going in the opposite direction. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So he doesn't meet her as a child until the end of his timeline, and she meets him as an adult at the start of her timeline. So no, he's not a pedo. But I hear what you're saying. It could come across like that. But there's no Gary Glitter in this, I promise.
Okay.
Speaking of someone who's in a lot of hot water, please don't sue me for that writer book, by the way. Speaking of somebody hot, Fred Savage. Now, Fred Savage, such a sweet guy in Wonder Years. He's an executive producer. No. He was
good in The Wizard, that Nintendo film.
No, and he was executive producer on a reboot of Wonder Years, which was quite good on Disney Plus. He's been fired from the whole production due to misconduct, apparently, and apparently he was the reason why the original Wonder Years was cancelled, and a few other cast members. I had no idea that it's Hollywood, so I guess you should be prepared and ready for that type of stuff. But apparently, there are a lot of inappropriate things happened on the original show, and now it's been cancelled from the new one. It could mean the end of his career, maybe appropriately so by the sounds of it. But that's really sad that old little Fred Savage didn't grow up to be a nice adult in the end. But yeah, and hopefully it doesn't affect the continued production of Wonder Years, because I know I've quite enjoyed it. Dave, you quite enjoyed the Wonder Years, didn't you?
I liked it.
Yeah, it was quite a sweet show. It reminded me of the original was quite cool. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. Disney Plus is another show. There's so many shows that have been announced that used to be old films. But Percy Jackson and the Olympians has announced its latest 2 cast members. The reason why I'm mentioning this is another Disney Plus show.
Because the 2 films were a flop.
No, the first film I think did all right. The second film, no, I think they made money, just not lots of money. Well,
The Lightning Thief and the Sea of Monsters.
Yeah, I don't think they flopped hard, but they didn't make that much money. But they were never really, I think, series made show.
I didn't mind them. I thought they were quite good.
I don't think they fitted.
But I never read the books, so.
Okay, I don't think they fit film that well because they were just big stories. And when you do a 90-minute movie, you're going to run into trouble. And I think it suffered from comparisons to Harry Potter a lot of the time. The new show's been announced. Obviously, it's got a bit of flack because one of the characters who I think in the original film was white has been cast as black, which does another shade of human. But obviously, there's some people out there who get really angry when a character changes the shade of skin, and they've been throwing abuse at the poor little girl. The writers come out in defense of her, which is really, really good. But as I say to all fandoms, get over yourself. It's not a big deal when they change a character's color. And before anybody says, "Oh, but what if I redid the Black Panther as a white guy?" They did that. It's called the Phantom. And but yeah, I just think people need to give it a bit of a
It's a completely different person. The Phantom has the power of 10 tigers.
Yeah, but he was still like a white African superhero thing. And
maybe they should redo Defenders of the Earth. I forgot about that program. That was good.
I think the characters are too cheesy. I think actually, Dave, I think they are. There's Netflix. What's the name? Warren Ellis did a story called The Magic Order.
There's Flash Gordon as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's based on all those old characters. So it's called The Magic Order, or something like that. But I think there's something that's coming our way. The King's Men, I think it was called, which is not to be connected with the
King's Men.
Yeah, the other Secret Service King's Men. Okay, right, moving on. Orville dropped a new trailer. The Orville that was constantly compared to Star Trek. And so many arguments with Star Trek fans were like, the Orville's a homage to the Next Generation. I'm like, it's the piss take of the Next Generation.
The piss take of every Star Trek program that's ever been made.
It's literally like the opening episode has like 10 dick jokes. You know, it's literally taking a piss out of how
it's
like,
a whole
middle class
spoof program.
But Orville season 2 looks like it's going to be a lot more serious, but
Season
still keep
3.
some of that humor. Is it season 3? Sorry.
Season 3.
It looks like it's going to have a lot more humor in it, but a lot more serious as well at the same time. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Orville can stand up, considering that now there's more Star Trek on our screens than ever before. There's lots of new Star Trek shows coming out, and fandom's been split. A lot of fans didn't like Discovery, but for strange reasons. But there you go. And now there's a new show, Strange New Worlds, which we'll be reviewing, I think, sometimes in June when it drops in the UK. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Orville's still got a place in the world, and that'll be launching on Disney Plus, I think, again around.
I didn't mind the Orville. I watched the first season. Second season, I don't think I finished it.
Okay. Well, I was fine with it. I like it. I like the little homages to Star Trek Next Generation. I like the little piss takes. I like the fact that people kept calling Discovery woke when they had episodes that were so woke on Orville. I was like, who are these people that keep saying that Discovery's far too woke? But okay, what do I know? So I'll be interested to see what happens next, especially as the last season ended on such a big cliffhanger. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, that's all the current news. I did have a story about Halo. Lots of fans are upset at the writers of Halo because Master Chief had sex.
Oh no.
Who are these nerds? I'm like, but anyway, they're upset because he had sex and he took his helmet off and all the rest. So I'm like,
oh no, it's the Mandalorian.
Master Chief's not like you. He's an actual killing machine. You're going to begrudge him a bit of sex. But yeah, apparently they're upset because he had sex. And Master Chief doesn't have sex. Or talk to women.
He's just a masturbator then.
Yeah.
Instead of Master Chief.
Oh, he's got no sexual urges whatsoever, and he's just a killing machine. And that makes such a good story because that really, no. But yeah, there you go. But anyway,
wow.
Now we have our special section that I've decided to now call.
There isn't there?
What's that?
I need to find some of these groups because I find what you say is quite funny.
Look, they get upset at the drop of a hat. The amount of grief they're giving Star Trek Discovery, and it's like I've been giving them grief, right? Because they're coming online again.
You have to give me a link to all these special forums so I can just have a look.
These Star Trek New Worlds, they're like, oh, this show's so good. It takes me back to the original. They tell stories better. It's in single episodes. I'm like, do you know what? I'm just pleased. There's so many fans out there that like simple storytelling, and they've found their version of Star Trek they like. Because they like it nice and simple, straightforward, not too taxing on their brains. I like that. I like the fact that they've found that Star Trek just for them, and they hate it. But I'm like, I don't care. I really don't care. They're destroying them. There's a section of fandom that destroys everything, and these people need to get over themselves. Right.
People that don't leave their house.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about the Wilds. Well, actually, this section is called From the Screen to the Couch, and it's going to be all the stuff me and Dave have actually sat there and watched.
Well, I only caught this one by accident this morning. I didn't. It just came up on my thing. Season 2 out now, and I didn't realize there was season 1.
Here. But I promised myself I'd start watching stuff that I hadn't normally watched. This is the latest.
Well, that's what I thought I'd do. I thought, you know what, I'd have a look. And it reminds me of a show that I watched earlier in the year called Yellow Jackets.
I haven't watched that yet, but I'm going to.
This is the same sort of thing. A group of girls that had got crashed onto a desert island.
Yeah. What is it? Lord of the Flies. It reminds me of. Now,
it's very much like that.
It's got the cast is made up of. Let's see. So, a bunch of girls get dropped on an island after a plane crash. And you can already tell there's something dodgy going on because only the girls have survived. And all these girls have different issues. And it's a bit creepy because it's kind of like whoever wrote this seems to be angry at women for something. And I don't know who the writer is or whatever. Have we got a writer? but they seem to be a bit angry. It's created by a female, so Sarah Stricher is the director or creator. You've got Rachel Griffith in it, Shannon Berry, Sophie Ali, Jenna Claus, all playing archetypes. So one's a cheerleader type, one's a fitness man, one's shy, one's and I can't remember which one she is. I think it's Shannon Berry, who plays a girl who's just been dumped for not telling her partner that she was underage. And so the story starts with them on an island and what happens to what they got there. It reminds me of what Lost should have been like. Before saying they were all in the afterlife. But yeah, it was all right. What did you watched a couple of episodes, Dave?
I watched the first 2 episodes this morning, yeah.
What do you think?
It's watchable. Oh, we've lost your connection. Are you
I'm
still
there?
there?
I was just blowing me nose.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's watchable. I didn't mind it. I'm gonna watch another episode to see if I can get into it. But it's all like someone. It is very much like Lost, like someone's watching them, and
yeah. They've
all been put there for. They've all been put there for a reason.
Yeah, but I hope they give them a bit more personality because, like,
and the girl that died, she was the inside spy.
Dave, spoilers.
First episode, it happened, man. Come on, it's season 2. And people have already watched season 1, surely.
Oh, good point. But yeah, I think it started off really well. I hope the characterization gets better because so far I've got no reason to like any of the girls on this island. They're all like slightly mean or angry or whatever, and I'm like, why?
It's okay because their periods haven't synced yet.
Oh wow! Go straight in for the subtle.
No, that's what it came up as, didn't it? That was in episode 1. It came up. I don't think any of us are on yet.
But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. I'll come back for more. I will watch Yellow Jackets as well, just to see the difference in between the two of these projects. And it's
Yellow Jackets is more of a horror based, but this is more of a crazy ladies sort of style.
It'll be interesting to see how long this can last. It reminds me a little bit of Green Arrow with the whole island thing. Like America's obsessed with islands where they redeem themselves and become different people. And I'm like, why can't I do that at home? Why do they have to end up on mysterious islands all the time?
I'm quite lost with this at the moment, but I need to watch a couple more episodes to find out if I'm actually going to carry on watching because they're an hour long.
Yeah. The other thing I watched today was The Quest. Now I know it's a kids show, but it's based on LARPing. Right, so for those of you who don't know what LARPing is, it's when you do like Dungeons and Dragons in real. So you get a costume, you get into a forest or wherever, and you play
with a plastic sword, and you attack people.
And you go on a quest. Disney Plus, right? And trust me, like I know you're probably sitting there going, "What's Curtis on about?" I watched this, right? I was sat there. There's a full-blown fight going on in the first 5 minutes, and it's the adults. It's not the kids at this point. It's the adults as they lay down the whole point of the story, and I was just like, holy, like this is quite some dark stuff here. Like people getting blown up. Like you don't see gore, but it's like one guy just steps up and he's like, see you later, disappears, right? And then it gets into the story, and it's quite, if I was a kid, I would love going on this because it looks like ever so much fun. It looks like a pretty decent family show, and it looks interesting enough that it might hold up. Like once I complete an episode, like I haven't watched.
It's similar to that program we used to have in the 80s, Nightmare.
Yeah, it reminds me.
They used to have
their
helmet and that to do the maze and stuff.
Dave, a lot better production values, and I think it may be if like this is the first time I've seen a show like this on Disney Plus, and I really do hope that it looks as good as the first 20 minutes I've watched so far. Because they've even got the cast, so the kids walk into the little village, and all the villagers are like, "Ooh, this." Like they're all looking away, they're giving them a dirty look, so they're like, "Who are these newbies here?" And everybody stays in character, except for the kids, obviously.
Western Saloon.
Yeah, everybody stays in character, and it's like, I would encourage you, especially if you've got kids, and you want to get them to Dungeons and Dragons without boring them to death, this is the step you take. I remember 20 years ago, 30 years ago, Dungeons and Dragons was like, they were so terrified of it, they made really bad movies, like the one with Tom Hanks, where he gets addicted to Dungeons and Dragons and loses his mind. For the world to have turned as far as it has.
What film is that?
Have you never? I'm sure we've spoken about it before. It's
No.
It's I'll look it up now while we're talking. But yeah, it's basically it's Dungeons and Dragons, and it's about how this kid, who is Tom Hanks, gets completely infatuated with it, and he can't break out of it to the point that his friends, it's Mazes and Monsters, that's it, 1982, and his friends have
1982.
Yeah, his friends have to come along and help him. Like, at the end of the film, he's walking in the park and he can't get his head out of Dungeons and Dragons, so he's completely wrapped up in the world, and that's how much he's come this far. That people are like,
What was it
Disney
called?
are now like Mazes and Monsters.
Oh yeah, never even heard of it.
Alexa, stop.
Never even heard of it.
Really, I'm sure we've spoken about it before.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a bonkers film. It's worth watching because it just shows how scared they were.
Yeah,
Like the panic that was set up by it was made for TV. It's like, I think it was one of Tom Hanks's first films.
Yeah, it's one of his first 3 films.
Yeah, and it's absolutely bonkers. I mean, like, you're watching this like, really? Like, your parents think their kids are gonna go down that road? But yeah, that's exactly what happens. So yeah, if you get a chance, watch it. But I reckon it's good for you, and I would recommend it to anybody. But yeah, it reminds me a lot of that, but done right. And it's I think if you've got kids, it might be worth watching. Make sure they're not like really young. I think teenagers are the right age for this. If they're really young, it'll probably just terrify them. But I haven't completed the episode. I'll give you a full review next week. Next up, the Silverton Siege. It was about a siege in South Africa. It's set during the 80s. It's set in South Africa. And I'd say credit for Netflix for making this one. It's got a superb cast. It's got an absolutely superb cast. And I have to say, it looks really good production-wise. It's got, you'll probably recognize, the only person you'll probably recognize is Arnold Vosloo, who was the mummy in the 80s films. But he's really, really good in it. And it's got, as far as I'm concerned, a really, really cool cast. And it just shows how evil the South African government were and how desperate people were. But I enjoyed it. It's not a very long film, but I'd recommend it for anybody who just wants a little bit of a late afternoon drama. Do you know what I mean? Right, moving on. Some more reviews for you here, because you watched it properly. Russian Doll, I watched the first season.
I watched both seasons.
Watched the first season and watched the first episode of the second season. Love this show, okay? I cannot recommend Russian Doll on Netflix more to people. It is an absolute headbanger of a show.
It's very Groundhog Day, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very Groundhog Day. But I love the lead character. Anybody, like, I thought
She's
I said...
brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant.
I thought I said the P word a lot. She says it a hell of a lot. Yeah. And I just love the sound of her voice. Hey, what is this, huh? What's going on?
Yeah, she's proper Jersey, isn't she?
Yeah. I absolutely love this show. I think she's actually been picked up to do a Star Wars film.
Well, she was good in Orange New Black, and she was also good in American Pie.
Yeah, I just think she's brilliant, and I think she deserves. I'm surprised it didn't. I don't know if it won any awards, but it should have done, just for the production value. And now with the second season, they've got time travel on their hands. Watch this show before you get left behind, is all I'm saying. I thought it was really, really good. Dave's watched both seasons, and Dave don't watch two seasons for no reason.
I proper binged it.
Yeah, so check it out.
I know you just couldn't put down. It's like a book that you couldn't put down.
I know Dave's going to disagree with me on the next one, but the Pentavarite, with Mike Myers.
I think you've got to be in the right frame of mind to watch that program.
No, it's the first episode's a hard watch.
I just thought it was a really bad version of Austin Powers. Because he was like every character and...
Yeah, I get that, but I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a good watch. I hope it gets the second season.
I think I just need to get into the mood to watch it.
out of all of Netflix's big shows with celebrities that have failed, like Space Force, a lot of other shows that failed, this one deserves a second shot more than them, because there were enough times that I giggled or laughed. There was no belly laughs, but it's very rare that I've watched any Netflix comedy and had a really good laugh while watching it. And I think the Pentavarite really does do that. And it's very, I think the fact he's made it about the whole Illuminati, like bollocks that a lot of people get dragged into, I think works quite well for this show. And it literally has a pop at everything and everyone. And it's got a really good cast. It's got Jeremy Irons does the intros, and he just gets wilder as the show goes on. Mike Myers obviously does the vast majority of characters. Lydia West, I love. I think she's absolutely amazing. He plays his cohort. And I think as a show, it just works really, really well. So give it a shot.
Who was the scientist? He's a big actor.
There was a few, but I think you're talking.
No, he was the main character, because one of them died and he took their place.
First one was Keegan Michael Kay, who you know from
that's who it was. Yeah,
and then the next one is Ken Jeong, who comes up in later episodes. But I just think it's a really, really good show. Jennifer Saunders is in it, and I think what's her name? Debbie Mazar is in it as well as is it Maria? No, she just plays herself. But yeah, I think it works quite well as a film, and I liked it. And I think once you get past the first episode, it's worth watching. And the episodes aren't that long either, so I'll give them a lot of credit on that. And it'll be really cool to see. If not a second season, it'll be really, really cool to see Myers do more stuff, because a lot of stuff I've seen comedians done on there has flopped, and not being that funny, and not being that fun.
Mike Myers is funny. He's done a lot of cult classic films,
and I think this one could be a cult. I think it's going to be a slow burner. Like people will come back to it and go, actually, this is very on the spot. But it'll be nice to see it happen some more. So there.
Yeah, I think I watched it on the wrong time. Maybe I need to watch it again.
Maybe you just don't like it.
No, because it was one of those. I just thought this is so ridiculous.
That's all right. That's all right.
But then sometimes you need to be in that frame of mind to watch ridiculous.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough.
A lot of people didn't get Wayne's World, but I got that straight away. You know, it's that sort of thing.
Right. I've got one more from me and one more from you. Do you want to do How I Met Your Father?
Not particularly.
But you watched the whole thing?
Yeah, well, it was 10 episodes. I don't know why I watched it. There's nothing else to watch at the time.
Let me get the deets up. How I Met Your Father.
It really isn't as good as the original.
I never got into the original, but
so with the original, it was a cast of actually people that were comedians or comedic actors. Where this is Lizzie McGuire, who is Hilary Duff, and the others I've never even heard of or seen before in my life. There's a British bloke who just makes a mockery of the whole people from England.
Well, there's actual brown people in there as well.
Oh, there's all different colour people. They're a mixture of the earth. The whole cast.
They've actually managed to bring in a different. I've got Hilary Duff, Christopher Lowell, Francia Razier, Suraj Sharma. Josh Peck.
It's watchable, but it's not like I would say.
Would you recommend it, Dave? Who would you recommend it for?
People that have never seen the original.
Okay, then I will.
And people that are in between Friends and something else. Yeah. It's like that.
Well, I'm just happy they've got some brown people in it for once. I might give it a shot just because of that.
Yeah, it's just the storyline's a bit shit. It's not like the original. The original was so much better.
I'll give it a shot.
And there is a few cameos.
It's on Hulu in the States, but it's on Disney Plus on everywhere else, I believe. In the UK, it's on Disney Plus under Star, if my memory serves me right. It's got a seemingly nice cast. Even Carl McLaughlin's in it. I don't know what the captain. I don't know what that's about. Did you see Carl McLaughlin, or did you recognize?
Yeah, he was in the last episode.
Okay, so
he was a player.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll definitely be giving that a shot then. All right. Before we get to Doctor Strange, my one last retro review. Right, I went back and watched this, and I don't know how. I think I couldn't finish it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original movie, dropped on Disney Plus last week, and I started watching it. I was like,
with Curtis Swanson.
Yeah. How did this manage to get turned into a really good TV show and franchise off the back of a god awful idea of a film? It's terrible. The film's put together badly. The direction's appalling. But I watched it again, and that's on Disney Plus. I'd recommend it for anyone to just see the difference between that and what we end up with in the TV show.
Really? Is that different? I don't actually remember it, but I actually remember
people don't,
how hot she was. And I think that's the only reason people watched it, because she was hot.
As far as I remember, the original film was a flop. It was an absolute flop. So it's interesting that it made it. Joss Whedon was able to build a massive career off the back of that, which he only ended up destroying once he started exposing himself as the complete and utter twat. But that's on Disney Plus now.
Is that a new word? Twat.
Twat.
Not twat.
No, I can't say twat. Tweet, nincompoop. Before he's exposed himself as a nincompoop on over from Avengers onwards. He moaned about Avengers constantly. Oh, it's so hard making this film. And then he exposed himself as being a bit of a pest on the set of Buffy. So that's a bit of a shame, but there you go. Right, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost 2/3 of the way through, but it's come to that time that me and Dave will now get into our discussion on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now,
we like to call it WandaVision.
Part 2.
Yeah.
The first Doctor Strange film, I'm not a big fan of. I don't hate it, but I'm not a big fan of it.
It was different.
It was different. I think they could have handled it a bit differently in the sense they didn't even need to do his. Sorry, they didn't even really need to do his origin story the way they did it, but it took up so much to the film that I don't feel that much happened in it. But it had some great special effects and introduced some really interesting characters, and I do like the fact that he's not Sorcerer Supreme. I love the idea that by the time this film comes around, it's not Sorcerer Supreme. And it starts where he's comfortable he seems to be comfortable with who he is. But also he seems to be taking silly risks that he shouldn't be. He obviously got snapped. So he's come back, his ex-girlfriend's getting married to somebody else, a black dude. And and he's having to deal with that. But also he's not Sorcerer Supreme anymore. And from that moment on, once you learn all that, the film just takes off.
And you found out it's not Sorcerer Supreme in Spider-Man.
If you watched it. If you didn't, you're not going to know. And there's some people who didn't watch the old Spidey. But they keep rubbing it in. Throughout this film, it's like when I make a mistake and you like Curtis, but that's what this film is. Everybody keeps going, but you're not Sorcerer Supreme.
Yes,
this
guys,
is how you treat this is how you treat the Sorcerer Supreme. And I think it's got a great cast. I think it deserved to be longer. I think it was too short, but I enjoyed the shortness. But I think there was a lot more story to be told in here. I was disappointed.
Story to be told.
Yeah,
and a lot of different story that dragged on.
Yeah, and I think I think it opened quite well. I think the story overall is quite good, and I think it ended quite well. But I think there was more that we missed out on. I loved a lot of the cameos that happened. I'll try not to spoil it for people, but there's a lot of really good cameos in this film.
I don't think you're going to spoil it now. Everyone knows.
Not everybody. Not everybody.
I think a lot. Anyone that has social media knows
I know
all the cameos.
You just want to spoil it.
I avoided it for a week. And as soon as I got home that day, I went on to just Google and it came up with loads of cameos.
There's a lot of good cameos in this film. Some of you know, like Captain Carter.
She can't come back. She's just not, like I said before, she's not fit enough to do that part.
I think she looked really good at this.
No, because her fight scenes, she just looked slow, aged. She just didn't think she can't do that part.
I disagree. I think she, of all the characters that they had in this, she looked really, really good. She looked the part.
She looks like she's aged so much. considering
has, Dave.
she's only 40.
Yeah, but how old was she when this was 10 years ago she first appeared?
Yeah, but now she just looks so old.
No, she doesn't. I
Well,
disagree.
The makeup department didn't do their work.
I disagree. I think Hayley Atwood looks really, really good in this.
No.
And I think she'd actually make I think they need to give her a Disney Plus show and let her do a thing.
A cartoon where they can't see her but hear her. She's got a great voice, but
your
not for the part.
No,
she's not good enough for the part, Curtis.
I disagree.
The whole point of Captain America is they didn't age, and she's the first Avenger, and she's aged so much.
Well, no, I don't think that's the point. I think that she didn't.
That is the point.
America's very aged by the end of Avengers.
You got to remember, she was but
he's an old geezer by the end of the game.
Yeah, but that was different. He came back as an old man.
Yeah,
but Peggy Carter died.
No, I disagree. I think she's one of the highlights for me in this entire thing, especially her fight with the bad guy.
No, he was not a highlight.
For me, it was. For Dave, it wasn't.
Mr. Fantastic was my highlight.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd be intrigued to see if they keep him as Mr. Fantastic.
I don't think they will. I don't think they'll keep any of that cast. I think that's just because it's a different multiverse.
I was so happy for Anson Mount to actually get a decent moment in the Marvel universe, because as you know, Anson Mount played Batball. He plays Batball in the Inhumans TV shows, which was really bad. It was like the CW version of a Marvel.
But that was going to have its whole movie to itself.
Yeah,
if it was successful, and then it flopped after 5 episodes.
It flopped after 1 episode, bruv. I remember because the first episode they put out in the cinema. And I remember going to the cinema, and I was the only person in the cinema.
Because this was meant to be the big thing.
I think it was meant to be because
it was meant to kick off Phase 4, wasn't it, Inhumans?
No, I think all it was meant to
instead
be...
of the Eternals.
It was meant to kick off the TV shows or be part of that TV show universe and be the cross between the TV shows and this film. But it wasn't done by Kevin Feige. It was done by Paul Matter. And had nothing to do with the MCU. They disown that so fast. Like, they don't mention the Inhumans in the Marvel universe at all. So I thought it was quite interesting that Anson Mount, who's currently captain of the Starship Enterprise in Strange New Worlds, was given that moment to actually do something. And you get to see him in action as Black Bolt. But
there was no Tom Cruise, so everyone thought there would be.
Yeah, and I think it was good that Tom Cruise wasn't in it. Because when Tom Cruise,
I thought we were going to have so many cameos, and there was hardly any.
Yeah, I think the cameos. If you listen to all the rumors, it's very disappointing because people were like, "Yep, Captain America's going to be back, and Carter, and Iron Man, and
yeah." You'd thought they'd go for different universes, and there'd be like one cameo in every universe, and it just wasn't.
And I think that they missed out a lot on doing that. And I thought it was quite strange the way they handled that. Because there's one point in the film that which would have been better if they just told that bit of the story, where they're walking down a street, and in this street you can read your memories and put them up on the screen. Oh, yeah. And that's how they told their stories. But I was like, what if you were thinking about banging someone at that moment? What, you'd walk, you'd step on there, and they'd be like, "Oh Lord, wait, come on, that." Do you get what I mean? It didn't. How did it pick those memories? What did it go through your entire memory and
pick up certain memories? Yeah.
Or did it what if it was a memory of you knocking one out? I was like, how bad would that be? You're walking down the street. I thought it had a lot of nice touches, like when they introduced Professor X, and they literally tell you it's a Professor X from the cartoons.
Yeah.
With the music.
Yeah.
I thought the little things like that were really nice touches. But I agree with you, Dave. I think it should have had a lot more cameos in it in each universe, and it would have made it just, even if it was just fleeting, it would have made it a lot more. It would have felt like they were putting a lot more effort into it. But for some reason, they shied away from that. And even though the cameos in there were quite cool, I still think it felt like the film was empty. It felt like they cut lots out.
Yeah, they did.
And I think that was really, really disappointing.
And even the beginning, I was like, what the hell is going on when it first started?
Yeah.
when it was like this big battle scene to start off with. And I'm like, who's this woman and what's going on? And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing that gets me. They could have given America Chavez a lot more time because in the comic book, she's a great character. She's a hard ass in the comic book. She's not like I guess there's no harm in having someone grow into who they are, but in the comic book, she's a proper like, I lost my parents. I'm trying to find them. I'm America Chavez, aka Miss America. You fuck with me. You fuck with the like. She's proper. She'll kick your ass in a heartbeat. And it would have been just nice if they had a little bit more of that Jersey girl sort of thing that she seems to have in the comic books. But it's Marvel, it's Disney, and they always handle things a bit differently. One of the things that did surprise me is they have given the Marvel Universe's designation number, which is in conflict. Like the comic book universe is Marvel 616, but they've now said that the film universe is 616, and I'm just like, woo! That's not on the books. That's quite weird they've done that. But I guess the film universe is a lot bigger than the comic books has ever been at the moment. And more people watch the movies than they even read comic books, I think, at the moment. So it's quite interesting to see what happens next. The other thing that got me about this film was that they seem to be setting up for Secret Wars. It's going to be really interesting to see how they handle that. And I think that maybe when you see Tom Cruise come into these sort of things, because
they've moved the films for next year already, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like Miss Marvel's coming up first now.
No, it's coming out later because this year we're getting Black Panther now. I think it's the last Marvel one. And then Ant-Man, and then...
No, but they've moved. Ant-Man was meant to come out in February.
Yeah.
And Miss Marvel was meant to come out in July, and they swapped them around.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to come in part with Secret Invasion or not, the TV show.
Well, there you go. That's another thing. The Secret Invasion is going to be TV shows, Secret Wars. Now, for anybody that knows, Secret Wars, the latest iteration in the comic books, was Doctor Doom gets control of the Cosmic Cube, and he creates what's called Battle World. On Battle World, it's got different versions of the Marvel Universe, and you all end up fighting it out for like they've got an evil version of Iron Man, an old man version of Logan. So it's going to be interesting to see how and what they do to bring this together. Because as big as Endgame was, a Secret Wars where you've got different versions of Mr. Fantastic, Wolverine, the Avengers. Wow, I'll pay money for that straight away. The other problem I have with this film is that, I don't know about you, Dave, but Endgame was so big. It was such a massive, like, emotional hit watching Endgame and Infinity War that everything afterwards just feels a bit...
But even with, like, the cameos, when you saw them in this, they all died straight away, and you're like, really?
Well, yeah.
You know, it's like literally...
Bang, you're dead.
Bang, you're dead. Bang, you're dead.
Yeah, but I think yes, but I think the film was
they got killed by their own abilities.
Yeah,
you know,
Black Bolt gets it the worst. I think that, but I think it wasn't about them, and I think that's why that had to happen. Because at some point down the road, you're going to get them back in their own projects, and I think that's when things.
Well, that's why I think it's going to be all different people.
Yeah,
but these were just a cameo from that verse. Maybe. Well,
I think that's maybe where they reboot the whole universe and then restart everything again. Because obviously, you know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is quite unique, but at some point they must be like, we can't keep.
But then where were they in his universe?
What do you mean?
Well, they were in that universe, but there's no one around in his own universe.
Well, they're dead, isn't it? They're already, like, apart from the humans where we don't know where they are, the woman who was playing Captain Marvel in that, she died. Captain Carter's dead already. So yeah, Miss Fantastic's the only one, but I don't know what they're going to do with the Fantastic Four. I don't think it's going to be Mr. Fantastic in a Fantastic Four film. I reckon
he's going to direct it.
Yeah, I just don't see him like.
He's got so much on at the moment. I don't think he will be able to squeeze it in unless he's going to direct it.
But I think
because he is a good director.
I think they may bring back one of the past Fantastic Fours as an evil version of Mr. Fantastic, because that character's proved really popular in comic books. I won't go into it deeply, but there's a version of Mr. Fantastic in the Ultimate Universe, which was a imprint that Marvel did, who ends up being the Maker, who's really good villain. And I think that may happen. But anyway, before we digress, where are we at the moment? So, Multiverse of Madness, it has so much going on in it. There's very little time where it sort of slows down, and it's got a lot of sweet moments in it. I think that, again, we haven't spoken about the big bad, but the big bad turns out to be obviously Scarlet Witch, which I think it didn't really make sense at first after what she goes through in WandaVision. Like she
add-on from WandaVision, though, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. But it does when you find out how evil the Darkhold is and what the Darkhold does. And don't think for a moment this is the last time you see Scarlet Witch, because most of the big Marvel stories that are coming down involve her, especially with the X-Men. So it's going to be really exciting to see what they do with the character next. But I think she worked. I think she worked really well in this film, and she made a really good, like, what she does makes sense.
But it's all about those bloody kids again, wasn't it?
Yeah. But it works really well in this because it's like, I just liked it. I really, really enjoyed it. And it is a horror film. So please, if you've got kids, all right, think carefully before you take them to go and watch this, because there's very few moments. And it's not that it's bloody or anything. But when they're being chased
it's
at
freaky.
one point, and she's just there and she's relentless. It's like, what the hell, man? And it's a bit creepy. So do think twice before taking your kids to watch this. There is some violence in this where you're just like, Marvel went there, which is very surprising. But it is directed by Sam Raimi of Evil Dead fame. So do take that into account. And only stay for like the first end credit scene. The second one you don't need to stay for.
I didn't stay for any of them.
Oh, the first one's good. Really, really is good.
I literally went to the bus stop and watched on YouTube.
Okay, but
it just wasn't worth waiting for it to come around. I was like, oh, I've got to get out of here. Because it was a bad experience in that cinema that time around.
If I was to rate Multiverse of Madness, I'm quite comfortable giving it 7 points out of 10. It was entertaining. The fact it was 2 hours, I didn't feel too tired coming out of it. I didn't have to rush to the toilets afterwards. And I think it told a decent story. Not the best of Marvel, definitely not the worst. And I do hope that they find, like, at some point, that there's a lot more magic in the films. I thought there was some nice scenes, especially the musical battle scene, which some people didn't like, but it actually makes sense.
That was bizarre.
Yeah, you need runes, you need words to use the magic. And it works really well in that world. And I thought they were quite brave in the way that they were willing, how they dealt with the Doctor Strange alternate versions of him. And my God, Doctor Strange at the end, woo! I like that whole, like, this is different magic. I like this. A lot of that scenery reminded me of Endgame. Infinity War. When Doctor Strange has his fight with Thanos. But I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I didn't have any major problems with it. I hope Marvel's storytelling style gets a bit better. And I hope they don't get lazy in what they're doing, because some of the best Marvel stuff I've seen, and I hope you agree with this, Dave, has been when they're taking risks and done something different and not necessarily had the super happy ending. Which again, Doctor Strange doesn't get a super happy ending in this. Is the woman he loves gone? And he sort of has to get on with not being.
But then he fell in love with the alternative version, and she had to stay.
No, she went, didn't she? She went back to her world.
Well, she had to go back to her universe.
But yeah. But like I said, if you watch the end clips, the stingers at the end, you'll see a comic renowned character pop into his world who's, let's just say, future love of his life in the comic book. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play this one out in the films. I think Doctor Strange needs a TV show.
They're going to have to make that pretty quick because Charlize is getting on a bit.
Oh my God, you're so wrapped with the age thing, man.
No, but
you're Dave.
It's true though, you know. These people are aging, You know, they're not gonna
That's right.
unless they get the bloody vampire blood put into them. They're not gonna last.
So's Doctor Strange. No, they'll just recast them at some point. I hope they don't make the mistake that.
Yeah, but you can't recast someone where they haven't already made the films. That's the thing.
I think.
But you think they've introduced her? Is she going to be in the next film, or is she going to be in 2 years' time?
I hope they don't make the mistake that Game of Thrones made. You know, don't keep actors in roles they don't want to be there for long. You know, at the end of the day, nobody wants somebody to be recast, but being the same character for 10 years is a lot, especially if you're an actor and you want to do other stuff. No matter how much money they put in front of you, no harm in recasting, especially if the actor.
It's all about money, my friend. The life is about money. It's not about experience.
Yeah.
If someone said to me, "Here's 10 million a film for the next 10 years," I'll take it straight away.
Yeah, you say that, but then if you're on set doing the same thing for 10 years,
mate, I was in the same job for 17 and a half years.
Exactly, and look what happened.
Yeah, eventually I walked away.
All right, so that's it. That's all my goodies for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
What was your rating on that?
7.
7, okay.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 7 for now until I watch it again.
We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you, Big Dave, for another startlingly gorgeous edition of The Boys from Bossk. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Again, like, share. If you've got any questions for us, fire them off on us. And
it's still Comic-Con.
Yes, next week. Is it next week?
No,
yeah, next week. We're going to be at Comic-Con.
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Yeah, it's 10 days. Just over 10 days.
12 days.
Yeah, we'll be there at Comic-Con on the 28th of May. We look forward to seeing you there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Boys from Bossk.
No stupid tunes.
You see, you done it. See, I finally got Dave to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
See ya.